The thin humidity of the early morning clung to the walls as I pressed my back against the cool cement. The dim studio still stained with the last shadows of night. The clock near the peeling mirror read 7:12. My sandals scraped against the floor. I closed my eyes and stilled my breathing, waiting for Maestro Cruz to sweep in, shoes tapping like impatient rain. That day, more than the others, the studio was filled. It wasn't just classmates, but the sharper presence of my mother at the back, her mouth pulled straight, my cousin Luz leaning beside her, and two neighbors from our block. They'd come because I begged. But even then, I could hear things in the way they stood, arms crossed, little noises as they tried not to laugh at what I loved. The rest of my group flitted around the edges, stretches half-hearted, eyes on the clock. No one spoke to me. Cruz signaled, sharp and silent, and 10 of us lined up facing the glass, shirts dirty at the collar, mismatched shoes, hair pulled back with whatever we could find. He didn't believe in coddling. Hands on hips, I studied my reflection. Wiry, dark-eyed, surer than most, but I had always believed in discipline. That day, I needed everything. Cruz turned, raising his hand. "Natalia," he began, eyes on my knees. "You lead." It was a modern piece percussive with sudden sweeps of stillness. Arms reaching. I counted in half beats, moving on instinct, letting the music filter through my chest. My awareness of each observer sharpened, my mother's fingers twitching at a loose thread in her blouse. Luz's closed lips forming a half smile. The neighbors whispering in low, gossipy tones. I spun, weight shifting from heel to ball, then landed, chest rising. Cruz stopped the music halfway. The silence stung. Again, from the top. "Natalia, you drag your left foot. Can you not see it? You lose your lines. Focus." As he spoke, his voice grew louder, more impatient. Someone in the back coughed. The second try was worse. We started, then faltered. Cruz pointed. No, everyone stop. Look, Natalia, why do you bother? This." His hand gestured at my body, my movement, the uneven floor, as though none of it belonged. "You clearly don't have the talent for this." Barely glancing at the others, he sighed. "Dancing is not for everyone, mija. Try something else. Your family must know it." Someone laughed. I turned. My mother stared pointedly at the floor. Luz's face scrunched, trying to turn her amusement into sympathy. The neighbors didn't even try. "You heard?" Cruz pressed. "This is a cruel city, not a place for foolish dreams. It's time to accept reality." The studio held its breath. My throat burned, but I refused the tears that stung my eyes. I stared at the cracked linoleum until the hum in my ears faded into a kind of silence, thick and absolute. I bowed, hardly hearing Cruz dismiss the group. As the others gathered their bags, Luz strutted over. "It's not personal, Nati," she murmured. "Maybe you just need more practice. Or maybe something less public. Mommy says there's always work for secretaries." She squeezed my shoulder as if that was comfort. I left before my mother could offer the same echo. My sneakers slapping against the chipped concrete steps, the laughter still trailing behind me. The street was already warming up. Mexico City sounds, honking buses, dogs barking, vendors calling, mixed with the hum of my thoughts. I walked all the way home without feeling the distance, legs loose and shaking. My bedroom had one window. I sat on the tile, watching a dust mote dance in the sunlight. All that work, every class, every night spent watching online videos, every house party where I'd snuck off to practice, felt pointless. That afternoon, nobody spoke to me. Not at lunch, not at dinner. Only a passing comment from my mother. "There are other ways to be happy than embarrassing yourself." I nodded, chewing rice, swallowing anger. But that night, when the house was asleep, I crept out of bed. My mother told relatives she was always stubborn. Luz visited less, but when she saw me, always asked, "Still trying?" Never a real question. One evening, weeks later, washing dishes, My father shuffled in. He was quiet, blue-collar tired from a day delivering construction material. He wiped sweat from his cheeks. "You gonna quit, Natty?" he asked. I shrugged. He grunted, setting down his keys. "Sometimes they don't want you there. Doesn't mean you stop wanting it." He left before I could answer, but I remembered that. Stop wanting it. So I didn't. I stopped asking for rides or invitations. I snuck out to workshops in distant neighborhoods, places where nobody knew me, where everyone came for the dance and not the gossip. I washed cars for coins, took jobs at a supermarket, saved pesos to buy secondhand dance shoes. I treated my lack of privilege as ardor, getting up earlier, stretching for hours before sunrise, feet raw from practice on busted sidewalks. I ate reheated tortillas and black beans, money tight but stubbornness tighter. In time, I found a studio that let me clean up after classes in exchange for time on the floor. The teacher there, Letitia, was softer spoken than Cruz but noticed everything. She never said, "You're a natural." No one does. Instead, she said, "Try again. I see you trying." That was enough. I learned about choreography, improvisation, how to read bodies in motion, and not compare myself to anyone. At night, my mother still rolled her eyes. "Your cousin's office is hiring." I nodded, but left before she could finish. A stubborn flame burned beneath my ribs. 3 years blurred past in sweat and repetition. I auditioned for everything. Local street parades, TV dance troupes, commercials, stage plays. I was rejected twice as often as I succeeded. The city taught me to move out of sight, to be invisible until ready. Every failure pressed me down until only resolve kept me upright. One afternoon, twisting my ankle on a street performance, I considered quitting for good. My father found me icing it in the kitchen. "I see you working," he said simply. "If they can't, that's their problem." The next day, I rehearsed on one leg, hopping, laughter ringing out from the spectators. But Letitia's encouragement built me back up. She nudged me toward an open call for the National Modern Company, one of the best in Mexico City. Auditions are next week. I felt icy fear, but also a deep humming want. "You think I have a chance?" My voice came out small. Letitia shrugged. "They want workers." I went. It was a blur of faces I recognized from posters. Bodies softer, thinner, lighter, taller. I stood at the edge, shaking. When it was my turn, I danced with everything, rage, hope, pain, stubbornness, all coiled in each motion. I finished out of breath but calm. There was a pause, then polite clapping. I left not expecting anything. I took the metro home, tuning out the doubts. A week later, a message arrived. I had made the cut, not as a lead, but as a core member. It was enough. Enough to pay rent, enough to be useful, enough to matter. I didn't tell my family. I wanted to build something private, solid, before letting them tear it apart. The years after that shifted. Not magically. There were no sudden riches, no magazine covers, just long hours, rehearsals in cold auditoriums, eating dinner from vending machines. But there were performances too, a growing confidence in my body, in the flow of music through me, in the respect of peers who noticed I never missed a rehearsal, never quit a sequence because it was hard. With each season, I rose. Choreographers started asking for my input. Dancers came to me for corrections. I said yes to projects, music videos, halftime shows, collaborations with visiting artists. The applause grew little by little. Someday, an interviewer said, "Your style is all strength and resolve." I nodded, thinking only of how I used to scrape together bus fare or mop Letitia's studio for a place to dance. Offers came first from within the city, then outside. Someone in New York wanted me to join their tour, but I refused. I didn't want to leave Mexico City. Instead, I signed on to choreograph a show about the city mixing modern, folkloric street styles. For months, I poured myself into it, choosing dancers from all backgrounds, shaping sequences that told a story about hope, struggle, and belonging. The show was huge. The press said so. Weeks out, rumors buzzed. Tickets sold out. The venue, a renovated theater near Bellas Artes, was beautiful. Old railings and high ceilings, a glow about the stage. My name appeared on posters outside. Choreografía de Natalia Martínez. It felt like air